Hello, sir. My name is Second Class Bowman, and I'm from Second Company. My question is, as the nature of warfare changes from state to group or culture, how can we keep our ethics and morals about us that you were speaking about earlier, while also fighting an enemy who plays by different rules and does not cherish the values, rules, and code of ethics of which we fight?
Yeah, wow. Excellent question. There's really two questions there. The fundamental nature of war has not changed a bit. It'll change about the time the fundamental chemical composition of water changes, okay? War is war, and its character changes somewhat, but its fundamental nature does not. Now, every war is different, and you got to take it, and you got to study each one so you're not fighting the last war. But how do you maintain your ethical balance when the enemy doesn't fight ethically? I think the most important point is that war is fought on three levels. It's fought on the physical, and you're right, the enemy does not fight the way we do. I mean, if we have every trooper over in Afghanistan right now knows that if they're captured, it's going to be very rough on them. And we've seen our wounded killed by the enemy, that sort of thing. So we define who we are by maintaining our ethical standards, because that's who we are, and we do not want the enemy to dictate to us our ethical standard. Whether they carry out the ethical standards or not is really immaterial. It's who we are, and I assure you there's nothing in the ethical standards that lessens the combat capability of your sailors and Marines. In fact, it will strengthen them, because if they start doing unethical things, it'll eventually, these rules were written because they're good for our spirits, and they're good for our hearts, and they're good for you 10, 20 years later. And if you violate them, you'll have a very tough time living with yourself. Furthermore, you'll make enemies right there on the battlefield. And we've seen on occasion when we had small unit discipline break down in our own forces, and we do hold people accountable for that, how it's helped the enemy in their lives about what kind of people we are. So you don't pay any concern with whether or not the enemy obeys the ethical rules. Us obeying the ethical rules will actually get more people on our side. I'll give you an example. Young Marine brings me a guy who has 2 hand grenades inside my division headquarters. He's a gardener. He's been working there for months. And he was given the 2 grenades and told to throw them into the mess hall. We had rather light security. It was Iraq early in 2004. It really wasn't as bad as it became later on. And so we asked the guy under interrogation, he brought him to the Marine who was guarding the work party out there, and said, why didn't you throw the grenades? Because they're going to give him $300 for each boom they heard inside the Marine camp. And he said, because the Marine yesterday stopped a guy from beating me up and gave me a bottle of water. A small ethical statement by a young Marine who saw something going wrong and stopped it. And how many Marine lives did he save? Now, he didn't have to step in to a fracas out in the street where we were letting people through the gate. He did it because it was the right thing to do. And as a result, Marines lived because of his ethical balance. I'll give you another example. A young Naval Academy company commander killed in action out at a place called Al-Qaim back in 2004. And this young captain, his body in a body bag was loaded in the back end of a Humvee for a 20-minute ride across the desert, where a Lance Corporal, and this is one of, I knew this company, I knew all the company commanders, but he was beloved by his troops. They believed in him, they trusted him, they thought the world of him. And that vehicle, 20 minutes at night, by itself, back across the desert to deliver 2 prisoners and the body of the company commander. And that young Lance Corporal delivered them alive and unhurt. That's ethical performance right there. That's the way you turn out a force that can move against the enemy, and is not one that's disobeying orders, is not one that's losing its self-discipline, its unit discipline, that sort of thing. So you hold on to that ethical standard at times because you want to hang on to your sanity, you want to hang on to your unit discipline. That answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Sure.